New movie that just came out this summer.
Yep.
Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga.
Mad Max Saga.
Something, honestly, I wasn't like super hyped about until recently when I rewatched Mad Max Fury Road just like 2 weeks ago. I showed Mackenzie it. And dude, I got obsessed like all over again. I remember liking that movie when it first came out. I had only seen it one time though. I almost didn't rewatch it because I liked it so much the first time. I thought a rewatch would like ruin it I thought I wouldn't like it as much, but this is the first time like years after the first watch. And dude, it's like maybe it's in the top 10 movies now. Like,
actually all time. Your list.
Yeah, all time. Yeah, it was such a good watch. So
did you like it the second time better than the first time?
I did. I think I did. Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
Just noticing it more and honestly, I think there was something about it that just caught my eye was just how easy it was to follow and watch.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like looking into it after because I was watching all these videos after was I learned that the editing style of it was very specific in the fact that they kept everything focusing directly in the center of the scene. Like no matter where your eye is, whatever you're supposed to look at is always in the center of the screen.
Yeah.
It shows like literally, it's so cool. It's so cool to watch. So yeah, I was pretty hyped about this Furiosa movie coming out.
No, absolutely. I got to admit, bro, honestly, because Fury Road came out 2015. I have to admit that I didn't watch it when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I just watched it last night. Like I literally watched Fury Road for the first time last night. I've always heard great things about it, obviously. But it is such a trip, dude.
Yeah.
Because not watching Mad Max, right, and just seeing like stills, and I've seen like posters and whatnot. Obviously, I knew it was like a wasteland type of movie. I've never seen the originals with Mel Gibson at all, but I didn't realize how insane this movie actually is. From like the set designs to the way it looks to the action to the lack of dialogue.
Oh my god!
This whole movie is an experience.
Yeah, it is.
Right, and we'll get into Furiosa, but like just to preface, Mad Max Fury Road was insane.
So much fun.
So much fun, actually. Yeah.
I think it's such a good action movie. Maybe one of the top ever, honestly.
Yeah.
And if you hear the story and making it, it was just like kind of a disaster. I mean, it wasn't a disaster, but it took a lot to get that movie made.
Right, which is why, because I know. Okay, so let's get into it. Right, George Miller being the director, he had his original trilogy back in like the late 70s, early 80s, right, with Mel Gibson obviously as Max.
Yep, which I haven't seen either.
Yeah, I haven't seen. But it took a while for him to even think of creating a sequel to the trilogy, right? It wasn't until like literally like let's say early 2000s, I believe it was, where there's an interesting story. He said he was walking out on the street, right, and he saw just a bunch of cars passing by, and that's what gave him the idea for Mad Max Fury Road, where his idea was just a one long continuous chase.
Yeah.
As the premise.
Yeah, and to have a person be the thing that they're chasing.
Exactly.
After. Yeah. Which like it turned out to be such a good movie, and they had started production earlier. Like at some point, I think I want to say it was because of 9/11 that production stopped.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So they had it was fully budgeted and everything. But because of the events of 9/11 and stuff, it took a huge critical hit on the devaluation of like the American currency and Australian stuff and whatnot, which took a huge impact on the film.
Right.
So this film was supposed to start getting worked on early 2000s.
Right. It was supposed to be Mel Gibson.
It was supposed to be Mel Gibson. Yeah, to reprise his role as Max, right?
Yeah. But by the time it came out, he was not in the best eyes of the public.
He was not. Yeah. He was kind of in his words, his career was over. And plus he was already getting older as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it wouldn't have made sense anay. But they got Tom Hardy instead, who I think does a great job.
I think he does an amazing job.
Yeah.
I was trying to, so while watching Fury Road, I was sitting there thinking, who else could have played Max, who else would fit in that role? I don't know. I can't think of anyone.
I think he does it best.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think he does it. Like I said, I don't know the Mel Gibson Mad Max. I heard that there's differences and like that he's not as gritty as this new Tom Hardy Mad Max. He's more like well spoken, I guess, and stuff.
Right.
But I don't know. Just knowing what I know, and that being the Mad Max I know, Tom Hardy's, I loved it. I thought it was such a fun take.
I liked it. Yeah, so I've seen similar things of saying the old Max and this new Max are different, but logically it makes sense because apparently, let's say this is supposed to be a sequel, right? This is Max later on in the years. The Wasteland has kind of like corrupted his mind. So he goes from more well-spoken to more like animalistic kind of tendency, which you see freaking Tom Hardy act, right?
He eats like a lizard right off the bat.
It's kind of insane, right? But yeah, no, I loved Tom Hardy in Fury Road, right? which I don't know if we should skip to, but I did have a question because I didn't watch Furiosa. You just watched it, right?
I did. Yeah.
I did want to ask if there's any kind of hints to Max because I know it's a prequel, right?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a prequel. So are there any hints to Max in Furiosa at all?
I think there's a couple nods to him that I want to say I picked up on, but I'm not 100% sure if that's what they were trying to do.
Right.
But there were definitely stylistic shots where it looked like this one guy that's in the movie. His name's Jack. He's like kind of the love interest of Furiosa a little bit. He kind of gives Mad Max vibes a little bit. For sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a good character in that movie. But going back to Fury Road, it was Charlize Theron. Is that how you say her name? Is it Charlize or Charlize?
Yes, Charlize Theron.
Yeah. So she does a great job as Furiosa in
Fury Road.
In Fury Road. She has you can see like a very like broken person, I guess.
Absolutely.
She's like definitely like quieter and keeps to herself a little more so than they portray in Furiosa, I would say.
Okay.
But I really liked her role, and knowing the backstory of like her and Tom Hardy like just having animosity on the set.
Yeah, their dynamic was interesting.
Yeah, apparently they did not get along.
Yeah.
Which like played into like, they're not getting along, and then you're in the heat in the desert filming, and you got a director that you're not like understanding. Apparently George Miller has like had a difficult time like conveying his vision to them sometimes.
Yeah.
And like I guess it got like kind of like just like frustrating at some points.
Yeah.
Which is totally understandable. I mean, you're trying to do everything practical, and when you do it like that, I mean, you're gonna have consequences for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to touch on that, dude, supposedly there's a part in this filming process where Theron, Charlize, right? She actually ended up breaking Tom Hardy's nose, supposedly, right? Doing one of the stunts or whatever. And to me, I'm like, there was a lot of animosity. Apparently, Tom Hardy would show up late to call times, right? Where there'd be points where she'd be sitting in makeup for like 3 hours. So he shows up and she just goes off on him, rightfully so. I mean, I'd be pissed too, honestly. But yeah, their dynamic on set must have been insane.
Yeah, right? So it sounds like it was just kind of like chaos making this movie, which the movie itself is chaos.
It is chaos. So maybe there's
it represents itself
for sure. But speaking of like George Miller and his vision, supposedly there wasn't even a screenplay for this movie. It was all just storyboards. I think like 3,500 stills worth of storyboarding.
I want to see all of those.
I do too. So it's all
comic book of like the movie, basically. Yeah.
Which is insane to me. So like obviously he would have a hard time trying to share his vision, like what's in here. He's trying to like paint it out. There is no screenplay. It's like, okay, just think about this. You're gonna jump from here to here, like So I'm sure like Tom Hardy had an issue, and just trying to think of, okay, what does he want from me?
And he's kind of a hard-headed guy anyway,
right?
And he said there's an interview with him and Miller at like some press conference, but he apologizes to George Miller with the way he was acting on set, just because he couldn't see it at the time, but now seeing the movie, he's like, oh my gosh, we made like something amazing. So
dude,
it kind of speaks to just what is going on in George Miller's mind. Like he can make it happen. You just gotta trust him.
You gotta trust him, and it's funny too because during that whole process of early 2000s, Fury Road wasn't able to be made because of the whole issues of 9/11, and then it was kind of in production hell. I didn't know this, but I guess George Miller directed Happy Feet,
Academy Award winner for Happy Feet, bro.
He directed Happy
Feet, best animated film.
Isn't that crazy? And he also directed a sequel.
Completely different.
That is like insane. Polar opposites of the Happy Feet in Mad Max, which he ended up winning awards for. But what's funny to me is that there was even a part. There was like, I guess supposedly there's a part where George Miller was thinking that Fury Road could even become a animated film. Yeah. Imagine Fury Road animated.
Be kind of sick, bro.
That would be kind of sick.
Would be sick. I'm glad we got what we got. Yeah. But seeing a version like that would be really sick.
Yeah, just literally take all your storyboard drawings and just animate it. That would be dope.
They could have done that with how much work they put into those.
Yeah. So for Furiosa, would you say, and I do want to watch this eventually, but we can get into it. So did it have that same kind of grit, kind of raw look to this, kind of similar to Fury Road?
No.
Okay. No.
Actually, no. And that's where like I think I had to accept it like super early.
Okay.
That it was like not going to be like that. It was not Fury Road. You know, like Fury Road, Fury Road is nominated for Best Picture. Like it is that beautiful and like it is just like that well told and that seamless, I guess. It's just that like so much care went into that movie. And it's not like that's not the case with Furiosa. I just felt like Furiosa was more of like a Hollywood, like more CGI, you know, more. And I can respect that. I mean, just get your story told, you know, and I'm so glad we get Furiosa because Furiosa was awesome. But as far as like the grit and the style of Mad Max, Fury Road, different, similar, but definitely different. Yeah.
Definitely different. Yeah. And I mean, that's not the only thing that's different, I guess, because they also casted a different Furiosa.
They did, yeah.
Which, for me, thinking about it now, I'm like, obviously there's differences between the actresses. And something we mentioned earlier, especially with Anya Taylor-Joy, I mean, her eyes are pretty...
Yeah, they're so prominent.
Very prominent figure for her, right? So how did she do in this film? And was it believable? Could you suspend, you know, your disbelief in saying, okay, even though different actresses, same character?
Definitely. Oh yeah. Even though she does have the eyes, obviously she can't get rid of this. Like that. Yeah. She encapsulates Furiosa and more of a, like I would say, Theron's her Furiosa was more, like I said, she was kind of broken, kind of subdued. She was like kind of a broken person, I guess. And like Furiosa, she still is that way, but she has a goal and she's on a revenge. Like she's looking for revenge in this movie. So she's got a little like, I mean, she's just badassery, I guess. For sure. You know, she's like on a mission to like, so she's got a little like she's mad. Yeah, she's mad. Yeah.
So for context, real quick, I know that in Fury Road it explains that Furiosa was taken as like a child, right? Stolen essentially from this place she grew up in, which is kind of what the goal was for her in Fury Road, was to get to this place called, what was it, the Green Place or something? She wanted to go back there because
that's where she grew up.
That's where she grew up. That's where her family was from. And she got there, but it wasn't the same.
No,
you know. So in this one, so what's the context here for Furiosa?
Yeah, so it starts with her as a kid in the Green Place
for sure,
and it is a luscious land, like compared to what you see. I mean, it looks like heaven basically. You know, that's kind of what they make it out to be. And she's out doing something, and she sees some people like scavengers or something. Yeah, she's trying to mess with them. She's a part of that. I don't know what the clan is called, but it's all the women. Like dead shots. They all do headshots. Yeah, so badass.
They're badass. What you see in Fury Road.
Yeah. And you get a lot of their kind of backstory and lore in this one, and they're just so sick, dude. Because it's just like you'll just be like in a scene, you'll just see people riding, and then like just one of them gets shot through the eye.
That's
and
crazy.
Like, oh, they're around. Like, it's just like they're good characters, but. So you kind of get her as a kid in the Green Place growing up, and then she does get taken. For sure. And then her mom wants to go and rescue her. And so she gets taken by these scavengers who are led by Chris Hemsworth, which is Dementis. That's his name.
Sick.
He does a good job. This is probably my favorite role that I've ever seen him in, bro.
Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah.
So he's like a warlord?
Yeah. So he's like he's not a good warlord. Like, he's not good at it.
Oh, he's not good at being a warlord.
No. Because the way he actually gets into a warlord position is because Imperial, is it Joe?
Immortan Joe?
Immortan Joe.
Yeah.
He traded him like Furiosa. That's how Immortan Joe got Furiosa. And to be in a warlord position.
Yeah, I see.
But then he's just not good at it, bro. Like, he sucks at being
trash.
a warlord.
Okay.
So, like, he just kind of goes crazy. He just goes crazy because everyone's blaming him and he's blaming everyone else. And then like, he just thinks everything's against him and stuff like that. And it starts this like 40-day long war between him and all the other warlords.
Really?
There's so much to this movie, bro. I would say as far as like I guess ambitious wise, Furiosa is almost a little more ambitious as far as the story goes.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much more to like the lore and the story, and you get like a lot of different like places.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's fun. Like, and the revenge story is it ties together well at the end. So I love that they made it. It's just completely different than Mad Max. It really is. But they complement each other really good.
So it is a good addition then to this saga.
I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like to make Mad Max Fury Road, like, it was just seemed like such a pain. Like, they did it and it turned out amazing, but like, don't put yourself through that just to get your story told. Like, he's 80 years old at this point, George Miller. So it's like, at this point, get your story told, bro. Like, don't wait on like the desert to be in your favor or whatever. Like,
because that's what happened originally, and they wanted to go shoot in Australia, right, where he was from.
Yeah, right.
But the desert, the barren land that they want to shoot from, actually started like producing flowers and stuff. Like, so they tried waiting it out like a year and a half, and they're like, this is not gonna happen. It was opposite of what they wanted. It was like beautiful and luscious. So that's hilarious to me. But so with this being a prequel, Furiosa, and then you have Fury Road, I guess now there's a sequel coming out for Fury Road called Mad Max, I think, The Wasteland.
Yeah.
I believe so.
I hope so. I guess Furiosa is not performing very well at the box office. Yeah, they're talking, I guess, just rumors that they're talking about shelving the sequel.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I knew it was in pre-production stage.
Yeah. This is what it says. It says, Furiosa wins the domestic weekend box office, but has the worst Memorial Day opening in 30 years.
Okay, so they're comparing it to other Memorial Day openings. What other movies have come out on Memorial Day?
I don't know. I'm sure a lot of movies have, but to be the lowest in 30 years, that is a little concerning. And for it to be like a big movie, like, I don't know. I think of Mad Max as like a big world that has a pretty big cult following and stuff like that. And this being like, I don't know. I would consider these newer ones. I don't know how the older ones were. I haven't seen them, but I would assume they're better than the older ones just because of the production and the money he has now, Yeah. So it's kind of weird to me that it is performing so bad.
Now I see why.
What?
Let me read some of these movies that have come out Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
So Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, huge. Yeah,
already huge. Yeah. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Freaking Indiana Jones Crystal Skull. Like, these are already top movies. X-Men: The Last Stand. Little Mermaid. Fast and Furious. Aladdin. X-Men: Days of Future Past. Hangover Part 2. Jurassic Park. Dude, these are all
those are huge. Yeah,
those are huge.
So to compare it to that, like, I would say Mad Max is probably like doesn't have as big a fandom as those probably. So
not to say that it's trash. It's just compared to these other ones. Like, look, Madagascar. Like, come on, bro. Mission Impossible. Like, these are all top.
I think people are being too quick to be like, oh, this is not doing like. See, people don't like it. I'm like, the theater was filled when we went.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was. So I don't think it's. I mean, people are going to compare it anyways to other Memorial Day films, but I don't think it's right to compare how good it is based on that.
Yeah. I think they're just worried about his performance as far as the money and stuff goes, but they were already talking like they're shelving the sequel, but I doubt. I mean, I think it's just rumors and stuff. I think people are just talking to talk and stuff.
Yeah, that would be too bad, bro. That would be too bad. Real quick, I do want to touch on this just because now that I watched Fury Road and seeing Immortan Joe as the villain, dude, I thought he was nasty. I thought he was creepy, disgusting, but I thought he made a really good villain. So how was he portrayed in Furiosa? Obviously younger, right? Did he look younger?
Yeah,
maybe he was a little different.
Yeah, he looks like pretty much exactly the same, just younger.
Yeah.
And he does a good job. It's the same kind of. He's like very menacing. He's a very menacing guy, and so. You get more backstory to him and his wives and stuff. And kind of everything, honestly. His sons.
Yeah, his sons, that's what I was going to ask.
You learn quite a bit about them, honestly.
Yeah.
I will say I think something, like a random thing that I noticed in Furiosa compared to like Fury Road, I already kind of touched on the production value obviously went down a little bit, but like some random things like with the war boys, like you know how they're like painted all white?
All white, yep.
I felt like they like even like random like there was like kind of stuff like that where like a war boy wasn't painted all the way or something like that where I was like you couldn't even spend the time to paint the war boy all the way or something. But I don't know. Even small stuff like that, I felt like the production value was a little lower. I think I can see why people are like, this doesn't live up to Fury Road.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's such a fun movie still. I would recommend it to anyone for sure who likes Mad Max Fury Road. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got to go watch it. But speaking of like, the whole War Boys guys, like some of them were very like, what's the word? Like very... I don't know. Like, there's a lot to them, bro. Some of them had like freaking engine tattoos, V8 tattoos, and like scars, and so
there's some of that, but there's some where I'm like, you just painted a guy white sometimes, or like and missed a couple spots. Yeah, but overall, it got the point across though.
Okay, and speaking of, what was with the whole spray paint in the mouth thing?
That's like they're like Valhalla or whatever. Yeah.
Like, I understand it, but like they're just spraying themselves with it. And I understand there's also supposed to be like a euphoric kind of drug effect to it. You know, get them going. I get that, but it's such a weird. Like, it's very unique for sure.
It is.
They just freaking spray themselves and then go into war.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
I think it's sick, bro.
It is dope for sure. It's so unique. I've never seen something like that. But I did really like in Fury Road. I liked Nux, which is the main like kind of war guy. Really good. I like his story progression. I like the way he had to sacrifice himself too. At the very end. It's kind of sad.
Him and Bloodbag.
Bloodbag. What was that about? Why did they tie up Max? Tom
because
Hardy
he was dying. Nux was dying. So and Tom Hardy or Mad Max, he had like all kind of blood, like his blood was like type for anyone. So
that makes sense. And he had him connected.
He wanted, and then Nux wanted to die in war, so he's like, just strap him to the front of my car.
That's hilarious. That makes sense now. I was like, what is going on here, bro? I'm telling you, it throws you in. Fury Road just throws you in and doesn't explain anything, and then you just pick it up.
It's a chase and then a race back.
Which, speaking of, actually going back to the whole production issue, they filmed everything except for let me preface. So Fury Road, right? When George Miller's filming, there's a certain time frame that they had to film this by, right? And the president of, who was it, Warner Brothers at the time? Like, he just needed this out. They didn't give him extra like shooting days or extra budget. So unfortunately, they weren't able to like record the ending or the beginning of Fury Road. So all they had was pretty much everything in the middle, right? So there was like issues with towards the end, like before releasing, obviously they actually got the budget for. There's a new president that came into Warner Brothers, and they give him the kind of opportunity to film the beginning and the end, but like there's not much context to begin with. So I can only imagine if they were only allowed to shoot the middle chase stuff and no beginning or ending, that would have been like, all right, what is this about?
Scene,
It's just a whole chase. Like, literally, bro. Mad Max Fury Road is they're going from one end to the other end, and then they turn around just to come back. Like in a linear, like
that's literally it.
That's all it is. But there's so much in between.
It's so good, dude. I love it.
Okay.
I love how you can take a simple idea like that and make it that entertaining. Like absolutely. You can still do something like that. Like there's new ideas for old ideas, I guess.
And Furiosa obviously kind of deviates from that. That's not that at all.
There's similarities in the going back and forth a little bit, but there's honestly just so much more to it. Like there's so much more characters and character in general to it. A lot more, still not a ton of dialogue, but a lot more dialogue. But I didn't mind it though. I honestly kind of want to rewatch it.
Do you?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun movie.
Speaking of the dialogue, bro, there was only like 60 lines or something like in Fury Road.
Something ridiculous.
Like
dude.
There's no speaking really at all.
It's a true action movie.
It really is. That's good stuff. Hopefully, because I do want to go watch Furiosa. Hopefully they do the sequel to it, the Wasteland.
I hope so too.
Because to me, it seems like Furiosa is kind of the main prominent protagonist now. It seems like.
That's what I was wanting to say.
I think that's the direction they're taking it in.
Yeah, she's honestly becoming one of my favorite like heroes in any movies ever, bro. Like, I think she's such a dope character. She's so badass. Like, she's like heroine or hero. Like, she's one of my favorite characters ever.
No, for sure. And then like at the ending of Fury Road, like you see she almost died, but you know, she's still kicking it, and hopefully, you know, we kind of see her role reprised, and
that'd be cool. Because she was Charlize Theron. She was a little disappointed she didn't get to reprise her role in Furiosa. So hopefully she gets another chance, because that'd be dope for her. She deserves it. Yeah,
maybe we see Tom Hardy come back.
Yeah,
they get pissed again. And start having issues again. That'd be hilarious. But overall, all right, Furiosa. What would you rate it? Honestly?
Oh man, I'd give it 8.8.
An 8.8 out
almost
of 10.
A 9.
Really?
Yeah, almost a 9.
Actually, that's a good question. What were some things that you didn't really enjoy about this, or you thought could have been worked on?
I think you could have shaved like 15 to 20-ish minutes off of it.
Okay.
I think there was a little bit of drags here and there. It felt a little long. Okay. That would be my one gripe with it. Yeah. But it was so fun. Like I said, Chris Hemsworth, bro, you gotta see it just for his performance. Okay. It'd be like, I've never seen Chris Hemsworth like this before.
Interesting. So, not to get into spoilers, but I can assume, based on context, like there's a reason he's not in Fury Road. Okay. Understood. Yes. That's too bad. All right. Cool though. Yeah, definitely got to check it out.